Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
In the country, nice and quiet. Just lie down to sleep. Hear a noticeable sigh. Open eyes. Room is dark. Can't see anything but almost think I make out a dark shape. Sigh sounded close. Definitely came from inside the room. Spooked. Shut my eyes and force myself to sleep. Next night. In bed again. Hear tapping at my window. Open eyes. 3 taps, stop. 3 taps, stop. Happens a few times. Wondering why the dogs aren't reacting. One on the porch, one out back near my room. Hear a deep sigh from outside my window. Similar to night before. Footsteps back away from window. Quiet again. Never happened again.
I had something tapping on my window the other night. I also live out in the middle of nowhere. The nearest neighbor is probably 4 miles down in a valley. My home is also built into the side of the hill. So my bedroom is elevated by columns, and my bedroom window is at least 12 plus feet off the very sloped ground. I mention the intense slope because in the absolute off chance someone were to be messing with me, they would not be able to rest a ladder securely on the slope to reach my window. 2:30. Getting ready for bed. My 3 dogs, 2 German Shepherds, 1 Jack Russell Terrier on my bed settling into their spots for the night. My bedroom light is on. I'm sitting on my bed reading. Suddenly tapping from the window across the room from me. Very distinct. Tap, tap, tap. Dogs don't seem to notice. This freaks me out the most. Tap, tap, tap. Reach over and shut off bedroom light. Grab shotgun from next to bed and point tack light through window. See nothing. No one. Nada. Turn off light, move to window, shine light down into property. Nothing. Put shotgun away, lay down wondering WTF. Tap, tap, tap. Decide to go to sleep and deal with it in the morning. Breakfast time, tell my son what happened previous night. He tells me he's been dealing with the same thing since he moved in with me 4 years ago and just didn't say anything because he didn't want to sound like he didn't appreciate living with me. Father-son bonding moment over low strangeness in my mountain home. If it's ghosts or whatever, I don't really care. It just bothers me that apparently my dogs can't tell me when this thing is around.
That sounds really cozy somehow. Did either of you ever see anything?
I asked him and he said when he first moved here when he was 13 he was exploring around the property. I own 10 acres at the top of a mountain and told me he was chased through the forest by a ghost bear. Leaving the clearing where my house is, there are a lot of trailheads leading into the woods. I haven't even explored most of it. One trailhead in particular is the one that was most used by the previous owner. They bent the smaller trees to create a sort of archway leading into the woods. About 300 meters past the archway is a split in the trail, left or right. The left goes further uphill and doesn't look like it was used much at all. It's barely a trail and you can only tell it is because the trees have been cleared, but everything else is overgrown. The right path goes downhill, is very well traveled and ends at a small level clearing with a meadow in it. Son. 12. Exploring mountaintop. Those left at the path, he didn't know I was considering it off limits at the time. Finds a bunch of cool stuff I hadn't seen yet, the remains of an old cabin, probably 19th century. Timbers are rotted and collapsed, but it's obvious it was a cabin. He says that he gets a weird vibe from the cabin, continues on for a while. Gets to another clearing as it were. But not really. All the trees in this clearing had not been cut, but broken at the same level. About 1.5 feet high. I mean snapped and jagged like a hurricane just knocked them all down. But the trees have all been arranged in the center of the clearing into a pentagram. Around this time my son hears something big making noise across the clearing. Looks around, sees what he described as a grizzly bear that was all messed up like someone had hacked at its whole body with a sword. He said he could tell as was bleeding, the cuts looked fresh. Suddenly the thing starts chasing him and he turns to the trail and bolts. He can hear the thing gaining ground on him as he runs his little legs off down the trail. He says he can hear its heavy footsteps and heavy breathing and branches snapping and something's right on his heels. He makes it to the split in the trail and cuts right, making his way to the archway. The thing does the same and chases his ass all the way to the archway. By this point he is screaming and bawling and calling for me, hauling ass down the trail. I hear him, grab my shotgun and run outside to find him. Just as I get to the archway he comes busting through in the biggest fit of tears, terror I have ever seen and have never seen since. He tells me a bloody bear chased him through the woods. I send my son inside, Rack a sabat slug into my shotgun and proceed with caution through the archway and up the trail to the split. I sense nothing. I don't smell anything. The forest is normal. Normal sounds, no tracks, etc. Go back home and ask son exactly what happened. He fills me in on where he went, what he saw, and what came after him. I'm a little mad he went into the woods without telling me and even went into a place we were not familiar with yet, but I let it go. Kinda not believing his story and thinking he just spooked himself or something. I didn't find any evidence of a bear after all. Decide to check it out the next day. Take shotgun and dog, leave a little before 10 a.m. Left the kid at home. Make the left turn at the path. It's not far to the cabin, maybe 700 meters up the trail on the right. Later on I found 2 collapsed mine shafts in the area of the cabin. Think this is cool, but not what I'm here for. Less than 200 meters past the cabin is the clearing he mentioned. Sure enough, it was just as he described. Trees snapped at about 1.5 feet high, all jagged and broken with massive force. And all of them arranged into a pentagram in the center. I snooped around for a while looking for a ghost bear but found no tracks. No bear crap, nothing. Wreck the pentagram, drag as many trees as I can into the woodline until I get tired. Go home without incident. Since living here I have seen and heard something large in the woods when I'm out doing things. It's always a big shadow out of the corner of my eye. I've lived here for 15 years and it's happened maybe 3 dozen times. It happens most often when I am down by the creek. I see it across the water. I have asked my son and he says he's never seen anything like that, but he has seen the orb. Silver orb with bright baby blue aura can be seen sometimes floating through the woods. Usually comes down from above the treetops and just kinda moves through the trees. Although we can see it lighting up through the trees, that casts 0 ambient light. I and a friend have tried to photograph it multiple times, but the images just come out black. That and the tapping on the window are the only spooks I've had to deal with out here.
Guess I should post my own story. Happened in 2020. Finally taking my fiancée to meet my family in rural America. All goes well. My family loves her and loves being around her. Show her all the cool places around the property. Stay out a little too late after overshooting my way back home. We both pop out near the gravel road. And I suddenly feel incensed to talk about skinwalkers. Not a super spiritual person myself. But my fiancé can be. Slip up and audibly refer to Wendigos as we start walking back home. It was our last night. So we had supper, watched some Hunter x Hunter, and went on a late night 2 a.m. walk. At the edge of the property near the old barn. There's a dilapidated bridge. Barely functional. But works well enough. As soon as we cross the bridge it starts to rain. Very light rain, but cold for October. Press on anyway. But both of us start to notice whispering, catch glimpses of things in our peripheral. No big deal, it's just the woods at night. The rain picks up. We decide to turn back and get some heavier clothing. As we cross the bridge on the way back, my fiancé and I both feel a presence. It spooks us both. Enough so that I slow our walking pace and turn to look behind us. Walking backwards. We clear the bridge. At this point my fiancé turns around and sees what I'm not sure I'm really seeing. A white-skinned figure with skin stretched over the bone. Standing taller than a bear. We both verbally confirm what we saw. And as we do, the tall grass near the bridge starts to part. As if something is heading towards us from it. The pale creature from the bridge is nowhere to be seen. Panic starts to kick in. I do my best and steel myself and keep moving backwards whilst keeping my eyes on the road behind us. My fiancé panics and grabs me, trying to pull me along as she runs. Causes me to stumble, temporarily scaring me witless. I grab her and force her to walk back home with me. Slowly. We go to sleep that night after covering all the windows.
Nothing ever happens to me, so I only have one story. Kids spend the summers with dad's side of the family because parents are divorced, spend most days at the beach, don't really like it, would rather be playing on GBA or reading a book. Unfortunately, family always hogs the shade and GBA would get ruined at the beach. Reading in the sun means cooking alive. Swimming is the only choice. Sea is usually calm. Paddling along while avoiding algae and jellyfish gets boring fast. Sometimes it gets rougher. And it's fun swimming out and letting the waves carry me back to shore. Not allowed to do it unsupervised. Though go to the beach one day, sea is really rough, huge waves crashing into the beach, which means no unsupervised swimming. Hot as hell too. Family quickly hogs the shade. I get sunburnt within the hour. They're all asleep and the sunburn is smarting. Decide screw it. I'll go to the sea to cool off a bit. Start swimming out and letting the waves carry to shore. Waves are really strong, Get carried really fast, it's fun. Boy, decide to stay. Possibility of punishment forgotten. Find another kid my age doing the same thing. We start racing each other, trying to catch the biggest waves, trying to grab each other, etc. Hours pass, sun is high in the sky, start getting hungry, tell him I want to go back, suddenly notice the shore is really far too, keeps asking me to keep playing as I try to swim back, keep getting rocked back and forth to the same spot by the waves, get scared. Sea is getting rougher and the shore is getting farther and farther away. He keeps asking to continue playing, snap at him that we need to get back. He just shrugs and keeps playing, getting farther and farther away. Try to keep up with him but the waves are too strong, lose sight of him. Eventually a surfer finds me and brings me to shore. Family asks where I've been. I ask how they didn't notice I was gone for hours. Tell me it's been an hour and a half since we've arrived.
Not the greatest, but I'll give this a shot. Be about 10 or 11. Recently moved from crowded suburbs to a neighborhood under development. It's 2003, so new neighborhood are going up like crazy. One of the only houses on the street. The furthest part of the city developed this far southwest. Literally nothing but corn and soybean fields for miles to the southwest. Bathroom on the second floor for my younger brothers and I is the only room in the house without a window. Never really liked that room. Always had on off vibe to it. Get up late one night to take a piss. It's one of those weird bathrooms where the shitter and the shower and in a separate doored-off room than the sink and linen closet. Washing hands when I hear the toilet seat slam shut. Nope.png. Try to sleep. Explain it off as if maybe I bumped it off place somehow even though the door between me and the toilet was closed. Forget about it for a year or so until I'm taking a shower after a baseball game or something. Hear a massive slam and what sounds like the trash bag rustling. Pissed off, about to jump out of the shower naked to beat my brother and give him an atomic wedgie off of the top of door frame. Rip the shower curtain aside. Room's empty. Door hasn't been opened or closed. Literally no room for anything to be hidden in the room. Check behind the toilet for the cat maybe. Nothing. Dry off without even washing all of the soap off of me and watch TV in my room. Another few years go by. Forget about haunted toilets because why would a house that's 4 years old max be haunted? Walk past the bathroom to the bedroom in the middle of night. Hear the clear plastic on porcelain noise of the toilet seat slamming and a pound on the door. Lights are off and parents are asleep. Pissed because it's probably my younger brother messing with me. Quickly position drawers of the linen closet in a way that the door can't be opened. Used to trap him in there that way. Wait for yells for me to let him out. Nothing. Check his room. He's sleeping. Remember weird things from the past. Basement bathroom gets finished before the new bedroom and I instantly start using that on exclusively. Fast forward about 15 years hanging out with brother smoking mints. Bathroom upstairs gets brought up. Brother said he hated that bathroom because the toilet seat was always scathing down on its own. Holy hell, I didn't tell anyone about my haunted toilet experience. We talk about it for a bit. He swears he was in there after a shower and from the vent he hears something say in a quiet but raspy voice.
I'm not Satan.
He starts using the basement bathroom exclusively after that. I had already moved out of my parents' house by then. Parents still live there. Still don't use that bathroom. TLDR haunted toilet.
Some OC. Not the spookiest, but it scared me. Be me, United States Air Force Academy Cadet. Have trail in woods to south of Cadet area I frequented. Usually go out there with book. Decide to go out there one weekend. Snow on ground from earlier that week. In full operational camouflage pattern uniform because freshman hazing rules. Already evening when I start. Walk out is completely uneventful. Lose track of time and it gets dark. Begin hour-long trek back to dorm. Emerge from one part of woods. Cross dirt road and back into woods. Begin to have feeling of dread about area ahead. Press through anyway. Pull out phone and start blaring Toho music. I'm a/JP/anon. Sue me. Walk down secluded trail into small valley. Feeling is stronger than ever. Nose is stuffed, but smell something slightly damp. Sense presence is to my left, in a cluster of trees. Everything telling me to get out. Decide not to run in case that causes it to come for me. Start praying and invoking names of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Start walking out of valley. Feeling subsides. Make it back to dorm without further incident. I have not gone back there yet. It was a nice weekend getaway too. Posting using mobile data because Department of Defense Wi-Fi blocks 4chan.
Alright, OC time. I'll start with the disclaimer that it's super anticlimactic. But it is paranormal. Sort of. Be me, Catholic. Adult but live with parents. Parents hear about a lady at our church who runs sort of an amateur shrine to a saint. She's known as sincere but a little eccentric. Clergy keep her at arm's length. Claims to have a miraculous portrait of the saint. Recently, a well-regarded parishioner says she was healed by the saint's intercession via the portrait. Shortly after that, my parents run into the shrine lady and she convinces them to visit. Day of visit, we're nervous. Not sure what to expect, since skepticism is the natural response. But anyone who says they don't want to see a miracle or get healed is lying. Get there. House is relatively normal looking. Have to take shoes off. House is filled with religious pictures and statues. Looks like either a church gift shop or someone tried to vampire-proof the place. Center is the portrait of the saint. We all talk for a while about the history of the place. Say a few prayers. The healed lady is there and talks about her experience. Note that at no point did anyone ask for money or anything like that. If this were some kind of scam, it would be a lot easier to explain, honestly. The lady says that if you put your hands on the portrait, you can feel some kind of energy coming off of it. We put our hands on it. Totally feel some kind of energy. Skeptic brain kicks in. It could be an electrode behind the canvas. No way to tactfully investigate. Go back to talking. And checked out to sue. Start looking around the room. Make eye contact with a surprisingly vivid portrait of Mary. It looks almost 3D. Keep looking around. Now all of the portraits look 3D. Don't say anything, but probably looking around a little weirdly. Effect goes away after a while. I know what you're thinking, but they hadn't given us anything to eat or drink. Don't bring the 3D effect up, despite talking to someone who is probably the most credulous person in miles. Eventually the conversation peters out and we leave. On the ride home, parents and I discuss what we thought. We're not sure what to think. Very strange experience, but we're none the worse for it. So there you have it.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.